Lynn,
Yeah.
take it away.
Okay, we're ready?
Yes.
Okay. So thanks for asking me to talk on this week's team call. I mean, I was pretty surprised when Dana asked me, but I'm super excited. And I said to her, I hope that there's some sort of takeaway from this. But just a little bit about me. My background is business and marketing. I have a degree in business, and my job, which I actually just got laid off from, so I have a lot of time now, was in marketing and business development. So I had a good amount of experience that I really tried to integrate into Beachbody. And I started as a discount coach under Dana. And I thought to myself, after watching so many people do so many great things for such a long time, that, hey, I could really do this too. And that I wanted to have something that was my own and that I could really take ownership of. I've always been a really strong supporter of small business, local businesses, but really of empowering other women, because I think that's so important. And I know that there's men and women in Beachbody, but there's so many other women that I can learn from, and hopefully they can learn from me, and we can just empower each other. And I don't know, I'm just really all about that, and women being really strong in the business world. So I thought that was a really great opportunity for me also. But what I kind of think is my strength in this business is my goal setting. And I have kind of a system that I integrate into my goal setting, and it gives me focus and makes me really motivated. So I like to always start with the big picture. What is that really long-term goal? For me, my long-term stretch goal is to have a PhD and teach at the collegiate level. So that might, I don't know, seem kind of silly, but I have milestones along the way to be able to get to that point. Beachbody, for me, is hopefully a way to pay for the rest of my master's program and eventually the PhD program. So that really is kind of something that motivates me. But when I look at the big picture and large scale, then I try and set milestones and break it down into smaller steps of what I need to do to reach that long-term goal. And I also do them in timeliness. So, my long-term stretch goal of maybe 20 years, 10 years, 5, all the way down to for the week and for the day. I really set goals every day for myself. And I maybe don't achieve them every day. I make pretty lofty goals, but if it doesn't get done on this day, I move it to the next day, or I put it where I can fit it into my schedule, and make sure that I work towards getting it accomplished. Sometimes I have a goal that has been on a list for 2 or 3 weeks, but something else was prioritized before that. So I do that. I always try to make sure that my goals are SMART, and that's something we use in the business world, is that they are specific. So I'm giving enough detail. They're not too broad or general. They're measurable or meaningful to me. So, quantifying them, or that it means something to me to achieve that goal, that they're actually attainable. I think lofty goals are good, but I mean, I can't really say I want to be the president of the United States, but I can set them to be attainable yet lofty, somewhere in between. The R meaning that they're relevant or rewarding. So that can, whatever is rewarding for you, whether that's having ownership of your business, or whether that's achieving a certain point in your life, whether it's financially or whatnot. And then also that they're timely. So that's why I set them in terms of, the day, the week, those types of milestones. I'm also really big about writing my goals down, because I feel like they're more concrete when I write them down. I do have a book that I keep all of my long-term stretch goals, weekly goals, those things in. So writing them down really keeps me accountable for them. And this is something kind of neat that I wanted to talk about with goals. And my husband always makes fun of me for saying this, but I call it the game of life. And I use this kind of mindset in all of my goal setting. When I was in college, I looked at college as a game, and the goal was to win the game, to get the degree at the end. And I'm competitive by nature, and I really want to get that prize at the end. And it's almost like you're in competition with yourself. So every time I set a goal, and for me, right now that is to build my business. That is to go Emerald this month. That is to, add other people into this great group of people. Like all of those things, I always look at that as a game. And I really, really, really want to win because I am competitive like that. So, I say to my husband, I'm like, you want the golden ticket. You want to be Willy Wonka. Like you want to win the game. You don't want to be the person that's throwing the Monopoly board up because you're really upset that you didn't win. So I just try to look at everything as a game. It makes it a little bit more lighthearted also and a little less serious. So I really like to do that, and it works for me. It may not work for everyone, but it's the game of life, and I'm here to win. So also, I'm super, super organized. So I think that helps with my goal setting. And that is just really part of my personality. I actually brought with me to show you those. So this is like my binder that I keep everything in, like all of my things through like Beachbody, and I put all my tabs in here. If I need to flip to something quick, it has all of the scripts and the product information and how to do something. And I carry that book with me wherever I go. I have like this really big bag, and I take that with me, even if I'm going to the mall, because then if I'm out and about and someone has a question, then I can flip to that. I keep my goals in there also. I talked about to-do lists. I really like to check things off. Sometimes I write things on a to-do list that I already did just so I could check it off because it gives me that sense of accomplishment. Or highlighting. I like to highlight too. I don't cross them off because then I can't see what it actually was. So I like to highlight or to check off. And also, scheduling. So I'm still this like paper scheduler person. And I keep everything in here from like baby shower to work things and school things and personal things and friends and family. But I schedule my workouts in there, and I schedule the time that I am going to commit to my business each day. So, whether that's in the morning time or at night. And I'm really fortunate that my husband is super supportive, that sometimes he's like, what are you doing over there on your phone? And I'm like, I'm talking to somebody about, 21 Day Fix, or we're talking about Shakeology, or someone had a question, or someone posted something about this crazy size program on their Facebook, and now I feel like I need to answer them really quick before anybody else does. And he's okay with that. He's come to kind of be like, oh, that's what you're doing. So I'm trying to bring him in to be a part of that. So just a few things that I kind of try to always keep in the back of my mind when I'm thinking about my long-term goals and how I'm going to achieve them. Take action. You could sit idly and do nothing, but I always find that making logical, informed decisions and acting upon them, it's better than doing nothing. So I always just say, take action. Once you think about it, come up with, whatever the solution is or the right decision for you, then just do it. Just go for it. There's so many people who haven't taken action or taken a risk or that step, and they achieve nothing. So you might as well just take action to try and achieve something. I also like to work smart and not recreate the wheel. We all share so many great things, but you could spend a ton of time recreating things, or you could just borrow from someone else and play up whatever your strengths are, or tweak those things to kind of customize them to you. I don't like to steal from other people, but I can always see what other people are doing that's working well or is effective. And I screenshot a lot of those things, and I save them in a file, or I save them on my Facebook page. And then, a couple months later, I go back to that. So it's new to the audience that I'm in front of and to the people that I connect with. And it's still gone by. I'm customizing it to me, to my, strengths, to whatever my target goals are. But I can see that hopefully it works for the group of people that, I'm trying to help too. Effort. I like to say that, greatness comes from effort. There's no shortcuts. Nothing happens overnight. And so that is the same, like we say that to, challengers, and we say that to anyone that it takes a commitment for your fitness journey, and you're going to have to work really hard towards it. And I think that to be great at anything, it demands an incredible amount of effort. So I really like to say, I'm putting forward whatever effort it is that I have that day, and I can, feel as if I really gave it 100%, and I'm satisfied with that. You have to, be happy with knowing that you did those things. Let me see, what else did I write down here? I work a lot. I know that one time I sent something to Dana and she said, do you ever sleep? And I do, but I always think that, if you have a goal and you want to achieve it, that you have to be willing to put the time in and dedicating whatever time necessary to achieve that goal. And if you're not willing to put in the time, then the goal probably doesn't mean that much to you. And I really try to put in a lot of time. I hope by being organized and kind of prioritizing things that I'm able to maximize whatever time it is that I have to dedicate to those things. Avoid the status quo. So I talked about, borrowing from others and not recreating the wheel. But if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. So you have to do things a little bit differently. Conventional wisdom always yields conventional results. So just being innovative, standing out from the crowd. I'm definitely not the person who jumps on the bandwagon, because I'm okay with being different and not, being exactly the same as somebody else. And so I do my own thing all the time. Just do me. I'm not going to do anybody else. I can't do anybody better than I can do myself. Like I said before, I aim high. I can set some pretty lofty goals. And I like to reach for something that will give me wiggle room and flexibility to maybe take a step backwards and, rethink that, or come up with another game plan in order to achieve that goal. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that the goals could be potentially, lofty. Let me see what else I wrote down here. My like page. So I just recently started actually friend requesting people and becoming friends with them on my personal page. And that was because of my last job was super sensitive like that. So I did my like page, and it's actually become really successful and works for me. I'm now connecting a lot more with people on my personal page. But with my like page as part of my goal setting, I schedule my posts. I haven't used any type of a system. I know some people have used Hootsuite or things like that. I just schedule them through my Facebook, and I try to schedule them at specific times. So in my marketing career, I had experience with what the high volume times were for people that were going to be going on to Facebook. So between 8 and 8:30 in the morning, between 12 and 1, and then in the evening time between like 6 and 8. And that could be different, if you're waiting for people to put their kids to bed and, you're going to do it at 8:30, or I don't know. I don't have kids, so I don't know what time they go to bed, 6:30 somewhere, or the earlier the better, I'm not sure. But, there is information out there about when the best time to do that is. So I try to, set it up for that. And I also do follow-up messages. So when someone new likes my page, I actually send them a message and thank them for being active and engaged and liking it and all those things, just to see if I can build a connection with them. Now, the downfall was with just having the like page that a lot of those messages would go into someone's other box as opposed to going into their regular mailbox. So that's now where once I kind of peruse that individual, I will friend request them and then do that prior to sending the message. So I've been really working hard on doing that and getting no's from people or them denying my friend request, but that's okay because I just, took that risk in trying to connect with them. But I've had a lot of good feedback and people that maybe weren't ready then, but I keep them on my list and check in with them. So I think ultimately too, I'm just always proud, and I'm proud of the accomplishments, my successes, but I'm also not too proud to admit a mistake or apologize or ask for help or even admit that I've failed, because although I consider myself pretty successful career-wise and educationally, I have asked a ton of questions about Beachbody and if I'm doing things right or how this works or how that works, because I'm not the expert. There's always something that you can learn from someone else, and I'm not afraid to do that. So I think basically that's, how my process of goal setting and my like page really works. But, it's always changing, whatever I want to add to that or flex. But I hope that provided some good kind of information.
That was awesome. Also, game of life. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's gonna be like my new thing. I'm gonna create a hashtag and things.
It works for some people and not for other people. Like my husband finds it super annoying. He's like, you have to make everything about winning. I'm like, well, for me, that's what fuels me. That's what kind of motivates me. And I always say, he's like, aren't you ever satisfied? And it's not that I'm not satisfied, but if I achieve something, I hit one of those goals, yes, I am so ecstatic about that and super proud. And then I'm like, okay, that's good. Now on to the next goal, because that's going to get me to that long-term goal. And it's short steps and small actionable goals to kind of get to whatever that long-term goal is. And the long-term goal, it can change as you need it to change or want it to change, or new things come up, or, I'm sure that those are going to change for me once we have a family. And so I'm okay with that. They have to be flexible and willing for them to kind of change as they need to.
I did have a question if you can, and if you can't, it's great. It's fine. I live in examples and visuals in a way. Do you have like an example of like daily goals? So like, say your goals you have for tomorrow or today. Do you plan them? Because you say you have like weekly and monthly. Like, when do you plan these goals? Like, break that down for me if you could.
Okay, I think I'm looking here for my notes that I have. I think this was one that I did a while ago, but I usually do them in my planner. But like this was like a list that I made where I did like what I was going to do in the morning, and then midday and evening, like things that I set up. So, in the evening, I'm going to work out and I'm going to schedule posts. I do a lot too in my planner. It's a weekly planner, and then for each day, it breaks it down by the hour. And so when I schedule things, I'll say I'm going to start at 8 o'clock, and I'll block off until 9 o'clock, or however long I can dedicate to that, or I want to dedicate to that, up until like really even small 15-minute increments I put in there. And then for weekly goals, I usually try to write them on the Sunday, because it goes Monday to Sunday. So on the Sunday day, I'll write down the weekly goals. And then for the monthly goals, it has the page that has the whole entire month. So I'll write goals in there for the entire month. The yearly and the long-term goals, that's something that I kind of actually keep it in the notes section on my phone, because then I can add things to it or delete it or change however that needs to happen. For daily goals too, I also use a lot of Post-it notes. and I put them on the day. And so then sometimes if it doesn't get accomplished on that day and I need to move it to the next day, I take them and move them around to the different days. So I find that works really well for me. I know sometimes people, if they have something on there that's a goal, they completely will scribble it out. And for me, the highlighting and the checking works really well, because then it gives me the opportunity to see, it gives me a sense of accomplishment, because I can see what the goal was and what I accomplished, as opposed to kind of scribbling it out and it just disappears, because that gives me a feeling of accomplishment. So I try to do that too. Does that make sense?
It does. Crap, I had another. Oh, do you set like an alarm? So if you have like 15-minute increments or like a half an hour, do you set an alarm?
No, I've never done that before. I can say in my past career, I had an administrative assistant, and so she would every morning, and then at the beginning of every week, I would show her my planner, and it has my personal things in it as well as work things and Beachbody things. And so she knew, when I was working out and when I was, doing different things. I mean, she's like, oh, today you're doing Turbo Fire. Like she knew all those things. But that was, for me, super helpful. She was really super helpful in keeping me on track. So I guess now I do, because time can go by the wayside. So I don't set an alarm, but I'm very conscious of that. And I try not to always do too many things that are 15 minutes, because 15 minutes goes by so quickly.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. You guys have any questions?
When you get a lot of time, do you try to get a lot of your goals done ahead of time? Like, do you plan out for the whole week then, and know that, like, let's say Thursday is going to be a really busy day for you, so do you try to plan out your posts beforehand then, so that you can just easily like grab something and go, or how do you like to do things?
Yeah, I do. And I try to kind of look ahead and see what I can schedule and think those things out. I find that if I don't plan, like yesterday, I didn't post anything on my like page because I hadn't planned, and so many things that kind of came up unexpectedly. So I always think that's good. I'm trying to do things where, again, not recreating the wheel, but utilize like different pictures and different posts, just make them a little bit different, so that if I am in a pinch like that, I can post those. But constantly I am searching hashtags and different things on Facebook, so that I always have something new and some new material. I do a lot on Facebook with the saved posts, but I also will screenshot them and put them in a separate pictures folder, and then I can go back and look at them. And I actually, when I make my post, I'll use that screenshot as the picture that I am not going to really post, but then I have it right there in front of me as an example, as I'm trying to type it and come up with a new thing. And then I try to kind of put them in a different folder once I've used that idea, so I could go back to it, but it's kind of there in my, I don't know, toolbox of tools to use. And it's not always Beachbody. Like, there's a lot of other healthy, tips and tricks and clean eating and things like that that I save. I do the same thing on Instagram, and I'm sure like everyone does on Pinterest and things like that. So I try to have I'm trying to build that kind of vault of things to be able to pull from.
So these are like other people's posts that inspire you, correct?
Yeah, or that I think would, provide information for me. And if it's something that is informational to me, I'm sure that it will be helpful to somebody else. And if I see something, say like that, it could be someone, it could be like Charlene Johnson, or it could be another coach somewhere else across the country. I will try to save it because it's not copying, it's not exact, it's mine, but I also want it to be original. So I will save it in kind of like the back of my mindset, and I'll maybe wait like 2 weeks, unless it's timely. If it's based around, a certain program, or it's based around a holiday or something like that, I have some that I've had like saved for 3 months. And then I'm like, this would be good for today. You know, I use the calendar too that you posted. I think that is really helpful. If I can't think of something that I want to do, I try to look at that for ideas. But just looking at what other people have done and what works for them. Maybe if I see something that someone posted and it has 200 likes, I'm like, oh, that's great. I think that really is, you know, fantastic, and it would work really well for the people that I'm trying to help too. But if I see something, I'm like, she only got 2 likes on that. What went wrong? And I've also started to share my posts from my fitness page on my personal page, because I've been tracking the people that it reaches when I share it on my personal page and on my fitness page, and it's a massive amount. I think it was last week or the week before I actually posted my transformation, my personal transformation Tuesday, and the only people who had ever seen those pictures before were Dana and my husband, because I was just not comfortable with sharing those. And when I did that, within 24 hours, it was like 2,800 people it had reached. And I said to my husband, I'm like, oh my gosh, 2,800 people saw that picture. And he's like, that's good, isn't it? And I'm like, I really only want 10 people to see it or something like that. But I've been trying to track that and keep, I don't know, I'm trying to track the trend on, you know, my posts, when I reach people, how I reach them. And most things I do organically. I have spent very little money on my like page.
Awesome. Anyone else? Bridget, do you have any questions? I know you always have questions.
She's ready for bed.
Bridget is ready for bed.
No, you need to get me organized. Can I hire you?
Maybe that's my new career. Listen, I've organized everything in the past few weeks. I mean, I organized the wrapping paper yesterday.
I will say I actually have my wrapping paper organized.
Yeah.
And by organized, I mean it's in like one of those containers, those wrapping paper containers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I separated by holiday.
Well, then mine's organized too.
Mine's kept in a big, freaking nice moving box. You can see everything. It just sticks open. It's great, functional. I didn't spend extra money on it, but it works the same as what you all did.
Okay.
And by the way, Dana apparently really likes surrounding herself with night owls, because she says the same stuff to me, and then I'm like, dude, sorry. That's when I get my best ideas, is in the middle of the night. Like, I seriously, like, will wake up from the middle, like, even if I'm, like, asleep, I'll wake up and be like, dude, if I don't, like, write it down or do something, and typically it's my phone right there, that it will go. So.
Me too. But mine's not in the middle of the night. Mine lately has been after energized workout, and it's in the middle of the shower, and I'm like, ah!
In the shower. I need to have a whiteboard in the shower.
Yes.
Won't work in the whiteboard won't work. You need bath crayons.
You think I won't get them?
You obviously haven't seen the size of my shower, Kristen.
I believe it, but you know what? As a mom, I'm telling you right now, bath crayons are the thing.
Okay, I'll do it. That's actually a really good idea, because I swear all my ideas come from the shower, and like as soon as I get out, I like come and I will just write things down.
See, I'm telling you, Dana's my soul sister.
It's true. Guys, we have less than a minute to go. That was a fantastic call. Thank you so much, Lynz. I am so excited. I took notes too, y'all. I took notes.
Gotta write it down.
You do. I'm about this game of life.
Before Bridget yawns again.
Okay. Did you get a picture?
I did. Did you want another one?
No, I trust you. I just didn't do it. I was taking notes.
No, and I'm actually on my iPad for once, so I could actually take one.
Awesome.
It's gonna be like the YouTube thumbnails.
Might have gotten better, but there's some rough ones in there.
Mine are always bad. They're
Mine
always
are bad too.
Plan them.
Have a wonderful night.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lynz.
Yeah,
Thank you, Lynz.
All right.
That was awesome.
Have a good night.
The recording tomorrow.